Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I like to discuss campaigning. A specific campaign. I'm going to discuss the campaign for electoral reform and to ask all you lovely people for your thoughts on which methods are most likely to win support. Now, I've mentioned this specific campaign before, but it's about to be opened up, so we're eliciting views essentially. The Movement Forward group's attempting to create what you might call a symbiotic relationship between those who want electoral reform, specifically a proportional representation system for Westminster, and those who could benefit politically. So in other words, not shouting with a piece of cardboard demanding things. The aim is to do this through tactical voting this election. Now, there will already be a significant number of people who are going to vote tactically to get rid of the Tories this year. These people need no other motivation, although they may still benefit from reliable information as to where to place their tactical vote, so they can check out the link in the description below. But there are others who are prepared to vote tactically for a specific purpose, to call for electoral reform, for example. The idea is to have large groups of electoral reform advocates band together in a large coordinated group and vote tactically against the Tories. The political beneficiaries would, of course, be new Labour or Lib Dem MPs winning seats that they could not have realistically expected to win without these votes, and where they have no hope of retaining those seats without retaining those same votes next time either. But how to retain those votes? Well, the idea is for this coordinated group to explain a couple of things to those MPs. First, to say that absolutely they will vote tactically again for them next time in return for support for electoral reform. The second is that even after PR is implemented, you may think that these MPs will think, well, then I'll just lose the next election. What good's that? But in actual fact, with a PR system, those same MPs who at the moment are in seats you'd think no chance of really winning, actually they do, because in a PR system, you can have Labour and Lib Dem MPs in areas which are normally just completely Tory areas. So actually, no, they could still retain their status in the House of Commons in the long term as well. So that's the rationale. But in order for it to work, it needs a voice. And you know what's better than a voice? A big, loud voice. Basically, the campaign needs lots of people adding their names to a list that says, look, we're going to vote tactically here in return for electoral reform, and some local campaign, of course, in order to recruit more supporters, because there may be people in your local area who would absolutely get on board with a campaign like this. But unless they listen to Carol Vorderman on LBC or people like me on social media, they probably don't even know it's happening or that it's realistic. There's a lot of people being constituencies who will think, oh, it's just safe Tory, it's just Tory, it's always going to be Tory. You pin a blue rosette on a pig and people will vote for it. And that is generally true. Although I will say, you know, on that MRP poll that came out a few weeks ago, that is no longer the case. No seat in this country is a safe Tory seat. But if people have the perception that there are, they may feel, well, what's the point of me going out, because it'll just be like whistling into the wind. So it's again a way of sort of letting people know, actually, no, your tactical vote this year, that can make a difference. So there's a need for people in as many local areas as possible to help out. Now, this video is not a call to arms as such. I'm not asking you to do this now, although it will come later, not necessarily very much later. This is more to present various ideas for what people could do to band together, which wouldn't be asking too much. There's no point in coming up with ideas that will ask too much of people. And it's also for people to add in their own thoughts. So what would you be prepared to do if you support this? What do you think is a good idea and why? What do you think is not a good idea and why? What new ideas may you have yourself? So I'll put up a poll on the community tab of the channel to gauge public opinion on some of the ideas in this video to see which ones are more popular. But in terms of the various ideas, here they are. So first of all, there's a plan to open up a Discord community. This will be happening. And the idea is to try and get people engaged with regular discussions on some aspects of the campaign. You know, it could be a weekly or a fortnightly one, a bit like I do the live stream. This could be a similar thing here, only you'd be able to pull up a few people, part of that community, to have a discussion as well. Another plan is to create customizable flyers and posters. So it'd be really useful if we had people who could have a bit of time and they could print things off to go, well, look, I'll print off some flyers and just deliver them around my immediate area. We're not asking people to pay a fortune for printing or to spend all of their days posting these things, just, you know, in their immediate area. Are people able to do that? Now, in order to help, there'll be a system for customizing them with some information that is particular to your local area. So how many people would be up for doing that, for example? The idea is that the flyers would contain some simple points and to explain how to sign up to the website, QR codes, URLs, that sort of thing. Could also include, as part of the Discord community, competitions for people to come up with the best designs for flyers, the ones that are most likely to get that. Because I always say with a flyer, something posted through a door, it needs to convey a message really quickly. Because, you know, we know how it is. Something comes through the door, you pick it up, you go to the kitchen, you put it in the bin. So what can you grab people's attention with really quickly? Because people aren't going to read wall of text on something that came through their letterbox unless they're very deeply bored. Right? So how to get people involved, how to harness any secret genius lurking within the support, competitions for designing flyers, things like that could be useful. Because as some as you may know, I'm a big believer in campaigns, like bringing people together, because there's too many campaigns where, you know, you pay your money. I subscribe to an awful lot of campaigns and I pay my money and that's it. Every now and then I get a newsletter, but I'm not involved in the process. Not involved at all. And other people will feel like, you know, so where's my involvement? It's all right you saying, okay, can you go and deliver a load of flyers? Where's the community for me? Where's my engagement? Because otherwise you just feel like a foot soldier, don't you? So, you know, are there other things that would help people feel part of this community through presumably the medium of this Discord group? Another idea would be a campaign to email MPs and parliamentary candidates, you know, whom you might be thinking of giving your tactical vote to. And this is for those, by the way, of course, who are not wanting to give it just to get rid of the Tories or for whatever other reason. We wouldn't want people just to copy and paste a rigid template. That's no good, because then MP just gets 300 copies of the same email. It's quite clear that someone's behind it. You know, we want people to be themselves in the email. But there might be some suggestions for types of questions that you could ask of your parliamentary candidate. You know, get them talking about electoral reform. And as a little aside, I think this would be particularly useful for collecting negative responses. I think that would be immense. Because there are some candidates, Lib Dem candidates, maybe certainly Labour candidates, who genuinely are not fans of PR. But sometimes their objections are based on misinformation. For example, a viewer told me recently that their candidate, a Labour candidate, amongst other objections, didn't like the idea of losing the constituency link. But you think, well, but that doesn't have to happen with PR. And in fact, the form of PR that if we adopted it, we're most likely to adopt, would not lose the constituency link at all. You only need to look at Scotland, for example. So gathering their responses could be really powerful in forming. So what are the common misconceptions amongst those candidates? And, you know, presenting something we can use to counter that misinformation. So anyway, let me know what you think of all this. The general election, of course, potentially could be very, very soon. So this should be starting quite imminently, I think. Let me know what you think is feasible, how you might improve some of these ideas in a way which doesn't mean people committing too much time or resources. Remember, this is not a billionaire-backed project. It is literally a people's campaign. And don't forget to check out the community tab for the poll as well. Thanks for listening. And until next time, I'll see you later.